Because we don't have enough money.
Right.
There you go. Thank you for coming tonight. So at this time, at 6:30, I will call this city commission meeting to order. Shall we stand? And we're going to have the invocation from Commissioner Williams, and we're going to follow that with our Pledge of Allegiance.
Most gracious God, as we come now to discuss the affairs of this city, we ask you to lead us and guide us and bless us with wills and knowledge and understanding that we'll do what's best for the city of High Springs. And we just thank you for your blessings that you have blessed this city. We ask you to continue to bless this city. And God, we just lift up a special prayer for those that are in Texas, God. Just be with them, help them, guide them through this disaster. In your sweet holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Ms. Palmer, would you do roll call for us, please?
Mayor James,
Here?
Vice Mayor Jones,
Here.
Commissioner Ambrose,
Here.
Commissioner Jameson,
Here.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
All right, thank you. All right, at this time, I will entertain a motion for the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. Gosh, I don't have the date, February 25th, 2021.
I got a question. Wait, isn't there, hasn't it been amended? Hasn't it been amended? Hasn't one of the items been taken off?
Yeah, the Bailey Estates.
Yeah, so number 6 under unfinished business has been tabled.
Oh,
Right. So under
I know
unfinished
it
business,
said to continue it, but
unfinished business number 6.
Do we need to say when we're tabling it to?
Do they have a date that they're coming back?
They,
March? If we do that, if we say a date certain, then we don't have to
Right.
re-advertise.
So what was it, March 25th?
March
So they-
25th?
they moved it forward?
yeah, we had an email from them where they requested it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. To March 25th.
Okay.
And I move that we approve the agenda, except for amended agenda, removing item 6 under unfinished business.
I'll second it.
All right, it has been properly moved and second that the agenda be amended.
Hold on a second. Do we have to put the date in here that?
Yes, so you need to state the date.
And it will be brought back on the agenda March 25th, 2021.
I second it as amended.
Okay, we try it again. All right, it's been properly moved and second that the agenda be amended to continue item number 6 under unfinished business until March the 25th, 2021. All those in favor, aye, please.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries 5-0. All right, approval of the minutes.
I move that we approve the February 11th, 2021 commission meeting minutes.
Second.
All right, it has been properly moved in seconds that the minutes from February 2021 be approved as printed. All those in favor respond with aye, please. Those opposed, same sign. Minutes approved. Motion carries 5-0. Presentation and discussion items, starting with item number 1. We will have our city attorney present a proclamation declaring March 2021 as Problem Gambling Awareness Month. Are they here with us tonight?
Madam Mayor, this is Scott. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yes.
We can hear you. We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Okay, I'm being told on the app that the video is not enabled. So I feel a little bit like that attorney that had the filter with a cat. I'm not, this is not Andrea. I'm actually Scott. So, but I think I-75 there must be some bad accident.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
backed up all the way. So I'm now almost, I'm not there. I'm probably about 10, 15 minutes away, but I'm on my way. Of all the meetings that I'm appearing in person, the 441 was backed up. I couldn't get up there on I-75. So if somebody else could read the proclamation, Madam Mayor,
All
I
right.
should be there maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that.
All right. Take your time and be careful.
I sure will be. Thank you.
All right.
Madam Mayor, I just heard from Chris Potts, the engineer, presenting item number 4 in presentations. He's stuck in traffic as well. He's trying to give me an ETA at this time. So I'll let you know as soon as I hear back.
Okay. We'll do what we can.
Who wants to
I
read?
can read it, or
Okay.
you can read it. Do you want me to read it?
Mhm.
Okay. Proclamation, City of High Springs, State of Florida. Whereas the City of High Springs has recognized March 2021 as Problem Gambling Awareness Month to demonstrate its support in addressing problem gambling, an initiative of the Florida Council on Compulsive Gambling in bringing awareness to the issues surrounding problem gambling in our community. And whereas problem gambling is a serious public health issue affecting 1 to 3% of the population that come with significant societal and economic cost, including a high risk of suicide. Whereas it is estimated that more than 6 million people of every age, race, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status suffer from problem gambling and need treatment. Whereas the problem of gambling is a community issue, as 8 to 10 people are affected for every one problem gambler, and conservative estimated social costs are $7 billion annually. And whereas educating the public about how problem gambling affects everyone in the community, including parents, youth, older adults, and families, is essential if we are to be proactive about this problem. Whereas the Florida Council on Compulsive Gambling's 2021 PGAM Awareness Campaign provides an opportunity for the public, parents, policymakers, educators, businesses, mental health, criminal justice professionals, the gaming industry, and others to understand the adverse effects of problem gambling, strategies for prevention, as well as available treatment for youth, adults, and older adults. Whereas individual, professional, or organizations dedicated to assisting those in need can participate in raising awareness and treating problem gambling by promoting the statewide 24-hour helpline 888-ADMIT-IT. Whereas the City of High Springs can participate in this nationally recognized Awareness Month through declaration of proclamation of the month of March 2021 as Problem Gambling Awareness Month in the City of High Springs. Now, therefore, I, Gloria James, Ashley Stathatis, a city manager. I think you have to read that part, the last part. Now, therefore, I think you have to do, I can read it. And Gloria James, Mayor of High Springs, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2021 as Problem Gambling Awareness Month. In witness whereof, I have hereto set my hand and caused to be affixed the official seal of the City of High Springs, Florida, this 25th day of February 2021.
Okay, thank you. And it is here, and I did sign it. Okay. Item number 2, presentation and discussion of fiscal year 2019-2020 audit. Our finance director and
Our
Thanks,
auditors.
Madam Mayor. Brendan from James Moore, along with Zach, representing both the city audit and the CRA.
Thanks, Jennifer. Jennifer, were we gonna do a PowerPoint? So the PowerPoint is specific to the city audit, audited financial statements. However, I will touch on the CRA audited statements as well. Again, you all know me, but Brendan McKittrick's my name, and I'm accompanied by Zach Schaufer, who's part of the engagement behind me. Again, just want to thank the commission for letting us continue to do the audit. Also thank the staff for their hard work for getting through the audit. We ask a lot of questions and a lot of requests, so really appreciate all their hard work. We are here presenting the financial statement audit for both the CRA and the city for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2020. And you all should have the PowerPoint presentation in front of you as well. You can see this.
We do.
Okay. I do like to remind the commission that, again, these set of financial statements are really the responsibility of this city. However, there are reports in here that we included here, the 4 reports. You'll see here highlighted, the first one being the independent auditor's report on pages 1 through 3. You have what's called an unmodified opinion except for relation to GASB 75 or OPEB. This is the same opinion you all have had for the last several years. We do have other municipalities that have the same opinion, and for you all, kind of most importantly for you all to know is this report as it stands is acceptable by the state. The next report here, the report on internal control and compliance. We do note here there's no material weaknesses in internal control. We do have one item here related to compliance with the general fund budget. And in the back of the financial statements, you can also see a response from management. But just to give a little bit of background, on your general fund budget, the actual expenditures were greater than budgeted for the culture and recreation. It's our understanding that there was an invoice received after you all finalized your budget for fiscal year 20 that was received from the county that required an additional accrual, some additional expense, which created the actual expenditures to go over the budget amount. Because this is a compliance issue, we are required to communicate that. It's our understanding, again, due to the timing of the invoice, that's kind of how it happened. The next report here, the management letter to the Auditor General. There was one comment here, what we consider other recommendation related to policies and procedures. Really what this has to do with is accounting and finance has some internal policies and procedures in place. However, our recommendation is that those policies be formalized, so have a formal accounting and finance policy as well as a separate investment policy, and then that get presented and approved by the city commission. In addition, just periodically also reviewing that, so every few years, bringing it back up for any reviews and updates as necessary.
So those policies have been communicated to the finance director and the city manager, and they understand what needs to be done?
Correct. We've had conversations with
Okay.
them actually. And then the last report here, the independent accountants examination report on page 52. Again, just highlighting that you all are in compliance with the specified investment statutes. So since we are also talking about the CRA audit, I'll briefly go through those reports as well, if that's okay.
Can we, I'm just curious, those are separate items on the deal. Can we go ahead and do this? And then do we approve each one separately?
Yes, that's what I was told.
Okay.
If you all would like me to present it separately, that's fine too. So I just want to highlight for the CRA audited statements, they're the same 4 reports. The first report, you all have what's called an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion. The second report, second and third reports, again, some required communications on internal controls as well as some required communications with the Auditor General. Again, that's not on this presentation, but on the CRA audited statements, there's no comments in there as well. And then no comments with regards to the last report, the independent accounts examination report for the CRA specifically. There are some required communications that we have to have with the commission as well. Again, some highlights here. First being that there were no new significant changes in standards that were required to be implemented this year. We do highlight some significant estimates for you all to be aware of. These are the same that you all have had in the previous years. The first one being allowance for doubtful accounts. So really this is the collectability of your utility receivables. The second one being depreciation, so really the useful lives of fixed assets and how quickly or slowly those are being depreciated. And then the last one being the net pension liability with relation to the Florida retirement system. So that is also an estimate that we highlight. We also highlight some significant disclosures for you all to be aware of. Again, those haven't changed as far as how they look from prior years. The first one being the deposits investment disclosure, then the debt disclosure, and then also the net pension liability. We do highlight some corrected and uncorrected misstatements that were a part of kind of the audit process. The first one being correction related to capital leases. The second one being some additional construction in progress that was accrued for in fiscal year 20. And then one proposed adjustment related to some additional capital expenditures in fiscal year 20 as well. And then finally noting that there were no issues in performing the audit and no disagreements with management. So this slide is, as you can see, a kind of a 3-year trend of the general fund balance. I want to highlight a couple things here. The restricted balance did increase slightly, really related to the wild spaces money. It's kind of our understanding that a lot of the projects that were projected to happen during the year weren't able to happen because of COVID. So again, that restricted balance increased. There is an assigned balance this year. This is new. Really, that's some appropriated funds related to your next fiscal year budget that were set aside. And then finally, your unassigned balance is approximately $1.4 million, which is increased slightly from last year. One of the kind of metrics we look at is we look at the unassigned and assigned fund balance, and we compare it to expenditures and transfers out to the general fund. Take it a percentage, and this year you can see you are at about 27%, which is an increase from last year of about 22%. One of the benchmarks we look at, the Government Finance Officers Association provides, is having at least 2 months, or 16.7%. Again, that's kind of the baseline, and obviously you all are above that 16.7%. Similar to previous slides, we look at the business type funds, the unrestricted net position for your water, sewer, and solid waste. You can see both the water and solid waste have had an increase over the last 3 years. With sewer having an increase in the deficit, so actually a decrease. A lot of that having to do with some increase in operating expenses this year, as well as some additional fixed asset additions that in prior years you all had a bunch of capital grants and whatnot that were able to cover that. This year, that wasn't picked up as much. And then some other highlights here. The fire fund has a restricted balance of about $71,000. The CRA, which we talked previously, but again, that restricted fund balance increased by about $111,000 to approximately $297,000. And again, you all have a separate financial statement audit over the CRA. Again, no findings in that report either. And then lastly, the net pension liability is approximately $5.7 million. Again, that's the allocated theoretical share related to the Florida retirement system. But as you can see on that last bullet point, kind of the thing we want to kind of mention too is there's really no budgetary impact to you all, and all the required contributions have been made. And with that, I will open to
Any questions from the commissioners?
Nope, I will just say that I did appreciate the time you spent with me today. If any of you want to see auditors get excited, try and have them explain the FRS liability and OPEB in layman's language.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Really appreciate working with you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. No questions here? Any questions from the audience? I see no one.
Madam Mayor, we're
Okay.
going to ask anyone that's on Zoom to please use the raise your hand function. We'll bring you in. And there are no hands at this time.
Okay, thank you. All right, so with that, we entertain a motion for, okay,
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the fiscal year 2019-2020 audit.
I'll second that.
we have to do them separately, you said, right?
Yes, ma'am, then we'll do the, or somebody will do the CRA audit.
Okay. All right. All those in favor of approval of the budget for 2019-20, respond with aye, please.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Now they need a motion for the.
Right.
Okay,
I'll make a motion, we approve the audit for the CRA for fiscal year 2019-20 as presented.
Second.
okay, it has been properly moved and seconded that the CRA budget for 2019 and 2020 be approved. All those in favor, respond with aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries 5-0. Thank you guys for all your hard work and thanks for keeping us on the right track. We appreciate it.
Madam Mayor, I just spoke to Mr. Potts on item number 4. He's about 5 minutes out. We take a 5-minute recess so we have to reorganize the agenda, or would you like to move to 5 and have Mr. Messina present?
Okay,
Give him plenty of time, he'll be here.
that's fine.
What's the Damon Dan?
We had number 3 on here for,
That was-
but I guess that's part of what we just did.
Yes,
Yeah, we
ma'am.
just
Yes.
did it. Mhm.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, no problem.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Madam Mayor, City Commission, Madam City Mayor. I just kind of want to go over a few things. These are projects of interest that we've been working through. Mostly involved with COVID. You know, COVID unfortunately kind of put a pause on us for a while as far as activity, but it gave us some significant value in directing our efforts, in other words, directing our efforts in something that we feel is very important here for the city to look into. We'll start with the new outpost. And again, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. So the new outpost, unfortunately, I have to read it off here. I can't see that far. New outpost, staff is experiencing lots of interest in seeking outside funding and support. With possible county assistance, private donors, and/or additional grant opportunities, we're analyzing a potential plan of purchase with upgrade expenses, meeting proper municipality guidelines, and seeking comprehensive insurance, liability insurance. Our primary purpose is to locate funding, provide proper safety measures, and accessible standards as well. So we've been putting a lot of emphasis on this, and as time goes and once we start gathering more and more information, we'll come back here and see what we can do and how we can work through this. Interestingly enough, this will, if we do decide to move forward with most of these purchases, which on these projects of interest, we will make sure that this does not come out of general funding. This will come out of grant. So, any questions?
Damon,
Yes,
so
sir.
the only thing that I would ask, and the same thing is, I'm assuming we're going to look for an outside, like a contractual type of deal and have an outside agency outside come in.
Yes, sir.
I would ask the same thing, that when we get to that point,
Yes, sir.
before we sign that we're gonna put our money out there and we're gonna do this, then an agreement with a third party to operate the canoe outpost is done pursuant upon us, buying it. So where they're not locked in.
Absolutely.
But I would like to have that done before we go in, so we know the arrangement, we understand what's going on, we've got everything set to go. So when we're willing to put forth the money, there won't be a long lapse.
Right.
in
That's the
deal.
objective.
Okay.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
All right,
As a
thank
matter
you.
of fact, we've been communicating with some agencies that deal with something that's pretty unique. So,
Okay, thank you.
you got it. The Douglas Daycare Center. Staff is seeking matching grant funding for reconstruction of Douglas Daycare building with additional much-needed upgrades for Catherine Taylor Park amenities as well. Staff is initiating community forums and public meetings to gather input and direction for possible future programming. We feel here as staff is something that we need to put a significant amount of emphasis on as far as being on that side of town. We've been putting a lot of time and effort, we feel, with the sports complexes, the commercial type parks. We feel it's a lot of history there. Miss Tammy, she was there for 41 years. Just past June, she retired. So it's kind of given us opportunity to seek out other ventures and how we could operate. We've been talking with people within the community. We have some really good ideas. We're going to continue to do so. And again, if we move forward with this, we're hoping to not, or not hoping, we will not come out of general funding. And currently, right now, we're tapping into some grants as well. So hopefully, we can get the ball rolling with that. And again, programming is part of the process as well. We're just not going to go ahead and reconstruct the building and just say, here you go. We're going to make sure we have everything in place. So, good. This is a pretty interesting one, and we're looking into revisiting the rails for trails and champion wild spaces, public places. Kind of like we feel the two have to kind of work in place here a little bit. Staff and several key players in the community and outside influences have been revisiting Alachua County Rails for Trails. Currently, we are in the very beginning stages right now. It's a project of interest and hoping to obtain some public and county support. We know when, I believe it's next month, we're going to be having a joint meeting with the county. I would really like the idea of the city commission to have this discussion with them to kind of bring it up, what their thoughts are on it. So we feel that there would be a significant amount of economic impact, help out with the CRA. Dave has been helping out with this project as well, with some people who were a part of this several years ago, at least in the beginning from 2014. So it's going to cost a bit of money, but at the same time, that's when we come to, hopefully we're going to try to champion wild spaces. And wild spaces is going to be due up 2024, December 31st. And after that, we don't have any more. So with myself and other sister cities, rec departments, we're going to champion this. And we're going to see if we can try to provide the proper amount of advertising, marketing strategies and whatnot, to try to get it to the county commission, to see if they would vote on it. And then, of course, we'll put it on the ballot, hopefully before 2024. And we get it for 5 years. It just all depends on what we agree on. I mean, we're looking at another $1.5 million that can go directly back into our parks. So it's kind of like, these are how things kind of, they got to, one has to work the other. So, and if that works, it would certainly help us out a lot as well, not tapping into the general fund. So this is very recent, and it's kind of tied in with daycare a little bit, but then we kind of shifted our efforts over to the old school, where we have the picture there, Head Start. They approached us, and they were wanting to put a lot of effort into the daycare. We felt that let's just give us a little more leeway, see what we want to do with the daycare. And then staff came up with the idea of perhaps probably doing this over at the old school building, which at one time, to my understanding, it once was there through an FCA program. It seemed like a good opportunity, to my understanding, once they hit the 34 family threshold, therefore they can move forward. There's possible monies that can go into the infrastructure of the building, which is much needed. If we do that, perhaps a playground may have to be installed. That would all be taken care of Head Start. And I think right now they did like a recruitment survey, and I think as of right now, they have 26 kids. I think they have to hit that 34 mark. But they're just coming up with some ideas and some contractual stuff. So I just want to kind of keep you guys in the loop on where we're at right now with that.
How many years do they have the contract?
It's 5 years. And after the 5 years, there's another renewal for another 5. so on and so forth, 5-year increments. And we're up to the all-inclusive playground. Completion of phase 1. Have any of you guys been out there yet, checked out the playground over at Sports Complex? It's coming along. And before I get into this guy right here is the big reason why the way it is and how it looks. I think with a lot of the amenities that are on that playground, no one has them here in Alachua County. There are all-inclusive playgrounds here in Alachua County, but as far as the amenities that are on there, the equipment that's on there, we're the only ones that have the majority of what's there. So it's absolutely beautiful. Dave's son did a very good job, helped me out with this when he was with the Parks and Rec Department. Completion of phase 1, the actual structure is to be completed mid-March. Phase 2 will incorporate proper handicap parking and additional sidewalk accessibility. Project completion for the project, July, August, that's pretty much for everything. So we're hoping to have everything complete by then. And we're hoping to have a good grand opening. Have all you guys there to celebrate.
Absolutely.
It's the total project comes out to about $240,000, give or take. That's where we're at right now. And we're going to get a $70,000 reimbursement coming from FERDAP. And the other amount is coming from Wild Spaces. Memorial Park. Memorial Park will include a new Little League ball field with the amenities roughly. You're looking at a 225-foot fence. That's kind of the new norm right now. Kids are getting bigger and stronger. We do have enough room for that. Ample parking, new scoreboards for the 2 current ball fields, resurfacing the basketball and tennis courts, and additional current ball field updates. So with that grant, whatever we get done with the actual ball field, we can shift some of our efforts into the current ball field, which will be nice.
There were some nice trees on that corner.
Mhm.
Are those going to be able to be saved, or are those going to get ripped up to be a ball field?
We're working with Paul Stressing Inc. We got a topo going, and it's something we'll definitely look into. I know we had a meeting a couple months ago, I believe, with Edgemore.
Yeah, a tree preservation plan is required.
It's good to know, man.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we go ahead and do the proper protocol.
Okay, it's my understanding there's like 1 or 2 trees on there that are particularly pretty magnificent.
The total project will come out to roughly about $500,000. $200,000 will come from the Land Water Conservation Trust once the project is complete. And again, this is all through Wild Spaces and Land Water Conservation money. So again, to a general fund. And with us, by doing that, Santa Fe Babe Ruth, the nonprofit organization that does baseball out there, they're willing to provide roughly $20,000 to $25,000 for just additional upgrades to the ballpark. And actually, as a matter of fact, today I got a phone call from a gentleman who's part of that organization. He's wanting to help assist with the scoreboards as well. So perhaps we can probably upgrade the scoreboards too. So I just actually got that in today. And then this is not necessarily a project of interest. This is a current activity that we have going on. And it was through our volunteer organization. It was Swamp Box, and our Recreation Advisory Board really pushed for this too. It's funded through the Alachua County Children's Trust Robotics. And we are able to initiate a program for local youth besides sports. It's teaching science, technology, and math concept. They mostly improve on team building skills as they work to complete the challenge. Currently, right now, they're prepping, I suppose, for a tournament that they're going to have to do virtually, and it's turned out pretty good. And we've gotten a lot of praise for this. And there's a little quote that they go by. It's not kids building robots; it's robots building kids. So it's
Yes.
something a little different rather than
I like that.
the soccer and the volleyball. Just expanding a little more culturally as well.
Mhm.
So just kind of wanted to throw that out there. Any questions?
Excellent.
Exactly, where is this held at?
It's at the old school. At the old school?
Okay.
Yeah, the Post Springs room.
Right,
And
okay.
as you all wearing masks,
So
did
this
a great
is,
job. They went through all COVID. They're doing very well.
is it an after-school program?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes. And it's strictly funded by and roughly that program itself costs anywhere from $11,000 to $15,000.
So the kids come over, after school, they come
Yes, sir.
over and they go like 2 hours after school, an extended school program?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's all residents, strictly,
Right.
they have to be High Springs residents.
And they're looking to expand it, correct? I mean, I think that.
We're gonna try to
talking with
continue
Ben,
it, yeah, it's
that
all a
was
matter
the
of the
plan.
Children's Trust, and at Waldo, they're now involved, Newberry's hoping to get involved next year. Yeah, almost had a second team as well. Mixing it up a little bit.
Good job, though.
Good job, man.
Good job. I like it.
Thank you, Damon.
Appreciate it, guys. We'll keep you updated as we go along. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are we not ready for item number 4?
Yes, ma'am, they're here.
Okay. Presentation and discussion on Bridlewood of High Springs. A proposed 697 plus or minus area development located at the southern sector of the city, east of State Road 45 near Tillman Acres. Mr. Potts of J. Brown Professional Group.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Apologize for our tardiness. There was a traffic situation on the way here.
Yeah.
Yes.
My name is Chris Potts. I'm the Director of Engineering for Great Bound Professional Group. Jay's here as well, and the owner and developer is here too. Like the mouse on the back. We appreciate the opportunity and staff's reviewing of the project as well ahead of time. And we just want to introduce this project to the commission as we start to work on it and see what items we can work out for you guys. As everybody knows, this is the Tillman property. We're calling this the Bridlewood High Springs. Just a little bit of the presentation. I want to introduce the developer, the owner, and then just run through our development program that we're proposing for the project. So the owner developer is Michael Moza. His monarch is Bridlewood Communities. He's currently working on a development in Arcadia called Bridlewood. That's the reason for the name up here, High Springs. He's been developing since the 1970s in several different states, Pennsylvania, Florida, New Jersey, California, Nevada. He specializes in residential development as well as non-residential, like office complexes, storage centers, those sort of things. And here you can see this is his most recent project he's working on down in Arcadia, which is a mixed-use development with commercial and residential down in Arcadia. I'd like to just go over the concept that we're proposing for the development. We've met with staff a couple of times to get some feedback, to see how we can develop something that can be part of the community. The developer really wants to be part of the High Springs community and not just come in, do a development and then leave. He really truly wants to build something that everybody can be proud of. So we met with staff a couple of times to go over the concept, discuss what the city is looking for, what are some possible needs of the city, and how we can truly be part of the community. And so it's going to be a phased mixed-use development with non-residential components as well as residential components. Approximately 2,500 homes with some non-residential, and we actually met with some school board members earlier in the week to talk about setting aside some land for schools in the area as well. And one thing that we noticed when we were talking with the city manager as well as Bruce, how could we help the city? And one item is setting aside some land for a public services facility, whether it's a fire station, a police station, or a community center, something along those lines, just so that this development can truly be part of the community. Lot sizes are gonna vary with generous open space, common areas, pedestrian interconnectivity, family-style amenities, large parks, will be served by the city utilities. We'll have improvements to State Road 45 and stormwater management facilities. One item with the parks, at least currently in our plan, we have over 60 acres of open space, parks, and amenities that not only are going to be open to the residents of the development, but to the public as well in the surrounding areas. One item we talked with city staff is, this is such a large development, it's going to have some impacts on some of the city's infrastructure. So we're wanting to help with utilities and providing parks and supporting the community in general. The development will also have a community development district, which will help support the city in maintaining facilities within this development. And so, as I said, it's a mixed-use development. We're wanting to really bring out a theme of the springs for the surrounding area. City of High Springs is what most people call the gateway to the springs. So we're going to try to integrate that into the development as much as we can. And that was a recommendation from the city manager herself. So with that, we're really going to open up the roadways to improve interconnectivity through the development, walkability, landscaping. For example, this is one of the typical road sections that we're thinking of. It's got a multi-use path on one side, sidewalk on the other, with luscious landscaping down it, just to give a nice feel as you're coming down the neighborhood. And we're actually calling this our Parkside Collector. Another road name that we're coming up, we're thinking about is like the River Run. Something just to bring in the Springs name and Springs theme into the development. And as I mentioned, over 60 acres so far of open space and parks and amenities. So we want to give back to the community. So multi-use fields, just general parks, stuff for playgrounds, pedestrian walkways, just things that we can give back to the community. The community can come in and enjoy the development as well. So with Bridalwood, we're hoping that we can have high-end workforce housing for teachers, first responders, basically the middle income folks. House prices are between $200,000 to $400,000, depending on the lot and the house itself. The current design for the house is West Indies. Since the developer is from the South Florida area, he wants to integrate that a little bit into the community. One special item about these houses is the style of construction. The walls are going to be made of steel studs to improve efficiency, prevent any mold, any contaminants, as well as they're very environmentally friendly because you don't have the waste of wood. Everything is exactly constructed as it needs to be. So they're very eco-friendly construction for the houses. So the project benefits, again, the houses are going to be eco-friendly, high-end workforce housing, generous spaces, generous open spaces, as well as parks and amenities, pedestrian trails and interconnectivity. The project will be constructed and built by a very experienced developer, and as well as bringing in some new non-residential components like shops and offices to the area to promote live here, work here sort of mentality. Benefits to the community. Again, this development wants to be part of the community with parks, with the CDD, the Community Development District, hopefully increasing demands on the local goods here in town and as well as providing public services and a Letcher County School Board parcel that we're hoping to work through with the details of the school. So in conclusion, the development wants to just be part of the community. It's eco-friendly construction. The conceptual plan has quite a bit of buffers, open space. I know the city manager is working on new codes and requirements, so we're working closely with her to meet all those. And again, there's going to be a community development district within the development to help the city with maintenance costs and for utilities and roadways and that sort of thing. Keep the aesthetic feel of the neighborhood elevated. Again, I'd like to thank you for taking the time, letting us present this. If you have any questions, feel free.
All right, any questions, Commissioner? Yes, Mayor. Oh, okay. Do we have lot sizes? Do you know what the lot sizes are?
Yes, they're going to vary between, the smallest one is going to be 40 by 110. Then the next size will be 50 by 110, and then 65 and 70. The way that we currently have it is we understand that the surrounding properties are larger lots. So a lot of our larger lots are going to be up against the perimeter to create a stepping down of the density so that the neighbors don't feel like they have 5 or 6 houses up against their property.
Do you have any percentages of these, what you intend to?
I do not have those.
I have it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was, let me see. 1,294 lots are 50 feet wide, which is 51%. 792 lots are 40 feet wide, which is 31%. 250 lots are 60 feet wide, which is 10%. And 197 lots are 70 feet wide, which is 8%.
And I would just like everybody to, this is just the concept plan. Once we go through final engineering and look at stormwater, and we may lose here and there or adjust the concept when we go through the final engineering process.
Okay.
Okay.
Madam Mayor.
I'll wait and see if she was finished.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Ashley,
Commissioner.
I'm assuming from prior conversations we've had that you're communicating with them are what we have stated before as far as lot sizes and things like that?
Yes, I have told people how you feel about the
They
40
know,
and you
but I mean, they've
prefer.
been told specifically. I'm just saying, I don't want to repeat stuff if you've had the
Right,
conversation.
right. Well, I haven't gotten to the percentages
Okay.
of anything you'd feel comfortable with because I finished kind of vetting some of that today. But I have relayed that you prefer more 50s, 60s, 70s, and less 40s.
Okay, thank you.
There.
Go ahead.
Come on.
Yeah. I'm trying to read your little map here, but there's no way possible I can read. So where your main interest gonna be at into this subdivision, off what streets?
I'm sorry.
What's your main interest gonna be off of what streets?
State Road 45. And then we'll have a connection to the north to 174th, and then we'll step out to the south. But our main entrance is going to be off State Road 45. Which, when we get into the final engineering, we'll have to go through permitting with DOT and make sure any turn lanes that are required and go through the traffic analysis to determine that with DOT. One item I'd just like to mention is it's going to be a phased development. So not all 25 so 100 homes are going to come at once. It's going to be a slow phased development process. And so we understand Commission's concern with the 40 lots and that sort of thing. So we're trying to work through that with the city staff and figure out good mix.
So what I'm hearing is, like, basically you're gonna start out on State Road
45 work.
and then work your way east? Yeah,
Into
Let me know, I'm asking because I'm just about 174th there. What kind of traffic going, coming out there on that road?
Yes, and, again, this is just concept plan. We're working through communication with the cities, with the county school board, and determining on the size of parcel that they're gonna need and the location, and, we're working through all those logistics. So this is just kind of our first step.
Yes, and we'll work through it even more because with this many houses, I know our ordinance only requires 2 points of access onto a main road, but 2,500 homes, we probably need another point of access at least onto a main road.
Yeah. So so you've got this thing laid out. I'm just curious now with a lot on the school type of deal. And I looked at your picture. Where within this do you anticipate that the school is going to be located, and then access into the school? And I'm just curious, is that with the traffic that's going to be coming in, if you're going through a residential area, how that's going to work?
So currently it's shown up at the northeast corner near 174th. But after discussing with the school board this past week, we're actually considering possibly moving it closer to State Road 45, just because of the traffic demands, as well as we understand some of the neighboring cities and their demands for schools. And so we're trying to figure out a place to push it closer to kind of serve many different areas as much as possible.
Okay, I mean, you're going to discuss it there and go through it. I'm just thinking of the traffic. Obviously, you're going to have to double the road. I mean, it's a single lane, so you're going to have to go 2 lanes on both sides.
Correct. We'd work through it with the traffic engineer.
Okay.
And work out any roadway improvements that we would have to go through with either the city or DOT, depending on the permitting agency. But yes, we'd make sure that
I got you.
the roadways can handle the amount of traffic that's produced.
Right. Well, I appreciate you coming and doing this. Me personally, I've been on here and we've had a couple of the last ones here where we had these conceptual type things come first, which is nice. It gives us an opportunity to see what is being planned and where you're going. So I appreciate you coming and showing us this.
Thank you for letting us present. And again, we want to work with city staff, as well as the school board to come up with something that everybody is happy with.
Mayor? I'll echo the comments about, I appreciate you coming forward early like this. I really like the idea you're looking at trying to come up with housing plans that have some character, that type of thing. We are North Florida, we are the Springs area. One of the things I hope you look at too is you're doing it, and really to make it a unique development that, it fits in really well here, but maybe would look a little out of place anywhere else. I think that would be good. But the landscaping too. Anything that, really encourages native landscaping, isn't requiring irrigation systems, isn't requiring fertilization. All those things would be really good models for the Springs territory that we're in. And if that can be incorporated, because I know the pictures you're showing are representative, but they're nice green manicured lawns. And, there's a lot of tax on the environment, especially with our aquifer around here with that kind of thing. So,
Commissioner Ambrose, just to address some of your concerns with that, this is one of the subdivisions located relatively close to our wastewater treatment facility. We have talked to the developer about possibility of reuse in there for irrigation purposes out of the sewer plant. So just to make you aware of that possibility as well.
Which would be great, but then that also means our sewer plant operator goes from a C to an A.
Right, but as our plant grows, we're going to need that anyhow.
Yeah.
And again, when we get into the final design of it, we'll work with the landscape architect to make sure we have forest-friendly landscaping and those sort of things.
I look forward to seeing what you bring back.
appreciate that.
Any other questions from the panel? All right, any audience type questions?
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank
sir.
you. Right.
Yes.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Commissioner, and City Manager. My name is Suzanne Nguyen. I'm the Director of Community Planning for the School Board of Alachua County. I'm here tonight as well as Superintendent Simon to present to you some information regarding the current state of our schools in this area for your own information. Basically, I wanted to let you know that our elementary and middle school zone is High Springs Community School, which I'm sure you're aware. Currently, we have a permanent capacity of 982. We have 0 available seats. We're at 100% capacity at that school. Our high school zone is Santa Fe High School, which I'm sure you're also aware of. We have 1,291 permanent seats at Santa Fe. We have 163 seats available, and that's a utilization percentage of 87%. So our schools are stressed, to say the least. I know that this build out for this 2,500 single-family residential development will take a period of time. This one development is expected to generate 350 elementary school students, 150 middle school students, and 200 high school students. And that's this one development. I know that the city manager and myself have talked about beginning to coordinate, a lot of the developments that are coming down the line, just so we can understand, what's going to be happening in the future. But I wanted to bring this to your attention. And I also would like to introduce you to Superintendent Simon, who also would like to speak with you this evening. Is there any questions that I can answer for you before I step away? Thank you.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Carly Simon. I'm the Superintendent of Alachua County Public Schools. This has worked out well in the aspect that we knew we needed to engage the west side of our county, and this project came to our attention, and so we decided to take this opportunity to really start some discussions. As you know, we're in a comprehensive rezoning focus along with our school facilities, half-cent sales tax levy. And although the sales tax levy is going to acquire roughly $250 million in a 12-year period, we have approximately 40 schools that have had either significant deferred maintenance or some that will need maintenance in the next, in the 12-year window. And so $250 million goes quite quickly. As Suzanne has shared, we do have a situation where we already know High Springs schools are taxed. We already know that with this taxing means the quality of education is going to be impacted. These developments are important, and we do not want to look like we are, anti-development. We are very much for this, but we also understand that high-quality communities have high-quality schools. And part of that means children aren't eating at 9:30 in the morning lunch because the school is so overfull. So in order for us to serve the students of our county and this community, we will need some considerations for this. And so in the plan, and we have been speaking with Jay Brown, and they've been very helpful with us, but I believe in the plan it's 12 acres, is that right? So right acres. For us to build an elementary school, we need 25 acres. A middle school is 35 acres, and a high school is 65. Roughly, for me to build an elementary school, it's $30 million. A middle school is $50 million, and a high school can be $60 million. We've asked Jay Brown to discuss with the developer not only donating land, but assisting us in building a school facility. We still have operation costs, obviously, as well as the students, but what we find is that the development on the west side is enormous. And in order for us to be able to keep up with the pace, we just do not have the money, even with the half-cent sales tax. I'd like you all to please consider this. We do want to provide high-quality education. It's very important to us, but this is something that we need to address. And this actually seems to be a very good opportunity for us to discuss these. And I want to thank the city manager for agreeing to meet with us in the future so we can come up with some plans. Just as a side note, Newberry Elementary is also overfull. We have had to move the 5th grade students off the campus. And this goes back into performance discussions. In order for us to have high-performing schools, we need K-5 at the same building because we are impacted by school grades. So we don't have room down in Newberry, and you also know the development going on there. So it's not just within this community, it definitely is on the west side. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Anybody else in the audience?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jay Brown with Jay Brown Professional Group. I just like to reiterate in regards to our abilities to work with the school board. We've just started those discussions. This dated back to, gosh, as far as almost 20 years ago when this site was set aside as a potential school, the site that you looked at on the map in the northeast quadrant. And so at the time, it was roughly set aside, I think, between 15 and 20 acres. And at one point, the school board was considering doing elementary school there. So when we inherited this former project, the Tillman property that you guys saw many, many years ago, and are reworking it, we thought that that might be a foundational aspect of the project. And so we did approach the school board and we've talked to our client about it, but those talks are just beginning and we're starting to understand what Dr. Simon just mentioned to you about the school capacities in Newberry and in High Springs and how there's needs in both places. And I recently read an article in the paper about how they were trying to work to put together a sewer system to serve multiple communities like Newberry and High Springs and maybe Trenton and some other communities, Archer, maybe not High Springs, but I think some of the other communities were involved in those discussions. So I kind of think this is something that has to be considered here as far as the schools too, because you've got Newberry and High Springs and they're connected by State Road 45, 2741 there. So one of the things that we talked about and Chris mentioned is possibly moving the school site closer to State Road 45 because it might be more accessible to the needs of the folks that would go to a school if there was one added here. So we don't have the solutions yet to solve the school issue. It would be very unusual for a development to participate in the cost of schools. I can't think of that being done in Alachua County before. I mean, we're open to discussions, that's for sure. And even the donation of the land for that is, as you might imagine, is a very costly donation, but we are committed to that at a minimum. So we'll certainly talk to your commission, to your manager, to the school board, and our client, and we'll try to figure out, how we can work on that. But I just wanted to give you that background that this was, always considered a potential school site. When Chris and I were studying it after our conversations with the school board, we thought that maybe a better site might be somewhere between High Springs and Newberry, more in the middle, so High Springs and Newberry could get there. But if our site is deemed an appropriate site, then we're certainly willing to work with everybody. So I think we just need to explore that further and continue this communication and talks. But we're definitely committed to do that. So if there's any other questions regarding any of that issue that they presented, and you're learning about it as you are. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Kevin?
Madam Mayor, if there's anyone on Zoom that would like to speak, please raise your hand at this time. We'll bring you in.
Middle was 25.
And see no hands.
Thank you.
You speaking with our elected officials and making sure you're aware of our struggles. So thank you, it's a pleasure.
Thank you. And I'm so glad that Brown, he brought up about the land, but that was designated back some years ago. Not only were we looking at that area, it was also looking at this, I think I'm looking at the area out on 441 on the Wayne property out there. I don't know how that, but they were looking at that piece of parcel out there also during that time.
And I just want you to know that we will not put through any plats or plans without y'all personally, not just looking at the concurrency, signing off on it and telling us how many acres you need. I mean, we want to serve the children too. And quite honestly, the developer and home builders, it's in their best interest as well because good schools sell homes. So it's in all our best interest.
That's true. But I thank you too for coming and giving us the information that you did. I think it's very valuable and we'll keep it all in mind as we go through this process. And working together, we'll work it out so that it'll be beneficial for all of us. All right, so we had any other comments on this issue? Okay. With that, we'll move right along. And we'll. Oh, you are welcome. All right, we come to the point on our agenda for citizens requesting comments for issues that are not on the agenda. And please state your name for the record as you come forward and limit your comments to 5 minutes, please.
Madam Mayor will remind folks again, if they'd like to participate in citizen comment virtually, to please raise your hand within Zoom. And there are no hands at this time, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much. Okay, with that, we'll move on to new business. Item number 7. Consider, discuss, and act on an agreement between the City of High Springs and GAI Consultants, Inc. for professional architectural and engineering consulting services utilizing City of Gainesville RFP 2018-049-A8. Mr. Sutton, please, our CRA coordinator.
Good evening,
Good
Madam
evening.
Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you for letting me be here this evening. At last week's CRA board meeting with the best, my favorite board, an agreement was introduced between the City of High Springs and GAI for professional consulting services to assist in the development of a new CRA plan for downtown in the CRA district. The CRA board, again, my favorite board at this time, approved this plan. And at this time, I'm asking the City Commission to follow in the CRA board's process and approve this plan for services.
I'm hesitant right now because my granddaughter played that tricks on me. Papa, I love you. So now you come to your favorite. So he trying to play up on us. Okay, we got you. I'm just messing with you. We got you. Your favorite board. Oldest trick in the book.
We have any comments from the commissioners?
No, I think we discussed it.
We already discussed it, that's all.
Yeah, we did already. But I have to ask.
Oh, I know you do. That wasn't criticism at all.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement since we already did it. Same deal during the CRA meeting.
Yes, sir.
And obviously nothing has changed, so I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement with GAI Consultants.
Second.
Okay. It has been properly moved and seconded that the agreement with GAI Consultants be approved. All those in favor respond with aye, please.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries 5-0.
And you did a really nice job.
Go to work.
You're my
Go to
favorite
work.
CRA person too.
Yeah, mine's too.
Just so you know. My favorite one.
Even more so than
The only one.
Oh, I tell you. Item number 8. Consider, discuss, and act on awarding bid for the CDBG 19 NR water main replacement and park improvement. CDBG control number 19DB-0N-03-11-02. Mr. Gillingham.
So real quick, this is, and I'll turn it over to Greg Lane and our finance director. We voted to change the scope of work on this a few weeks back, a couple commission meetings back. This is the CDBG project in the northwest part of town. This is when we did the reduction of scope on the water main and for the services on the houses. And I'll let Greg Lane get into the nuts and bolts on this.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, thank you. Greg Lang with Midtower and Associates. So I'm here to make a recommendation of award, but by way of background and in your package, the city received 4 bids on November 24th, 2020 in response to the city's advertisement for the CDBG, which stands for Community Development Block Grant. And that's a grant program available to small cities that have a substantial number of low to moderate income households. And we worked on the grant application with your grant administrator, Fred Fox Enterprises, quite some time ago. This program takes a long time to make it to this stage, but the city was awarded a grant. And so what we have now is we had the 4 bids received, and what's interesting is they really ranged in price, from $834,000 to $1.1 million. And the bid tabulation is also in the package. And what we did as the assistant city manager just relayed is bid that came in as a low bid was still over budget, the scope was reduced, still keeping the scope of the work in compliance with the grant. And so what we're here to do, I'm here to do tonight, is to recommend approval, but based on a couple of contingencies. So first, this requires an additional amount of city funding in the amount of $51,434.50 in order to have this project constructed. And then it would be also contingent upon approval by the Department of Economic Opportunity, DEO, in Tallahassee, and your attorney, as well as receipt of proper bonds, insurance certificates. And so with those contingencies, it's your pleasure, it's our pleasure and your pleasure to approve the project. We hope you can make the project forward with that additional funds. And it's also not just a water main project, it also has Walter Howard Park improvements as part of the project. And the low bidder, the Kenyon Keaton Group, DBA Baldwin's Quality Plumbing in Jacksonville, Florida. We looked into their workmanship, their licenses, and so forth. So we've had other projects that we designed built by them, and I can confidently say they're qualified.
Commissioners?
So as well as the 51,000, that there's also a $50,000 match from the city that
Was previously pledged.
yes, previously pledged. So there's a balance of 101,000. This project, I spoke to Norman. This project should not be completed before December 2021. So how the funds go is CDBG spends all their money first, and then the city puts their money in at the very end. At this point, we should not have in this budget year funding. If we do, there is money in contingency because this is a water project. But the reality is most of that funding will come in next fiscal year's budget where it will have to be budgeted for the rest of the project.
Madam Mayor, thank you, Finance Director. The clarification about the $50,000 that the city pledged. Many cities pledge that money to receive extra points in the application. So at the time you made application, you pledged it, but now if you go forward, thank you for reminding the commissioners, you will at some point expend it. I'm glad it's the next fiscal year, that may make it easier.
Can I ask a question? Hey, Greg, I'm curious. So we've done this now, what, 3 times, 4 times? So I'm curious why is there such a discrepancy in the dollar amount in the deal? Why aren't we able to carve out a piece of work that is going to fit to the dollar amount that we're given?
Madam Mayor, that is an excellent question. So here's my perspective. There's 2 primary reasons for it. One is these applications go in usually a year and a half, sometimes even 2 years prior to being funded, if they are funded. So there's this large window of time where we are taking current bid data. We usually do say, let's add 5 or 10% or so because prices have been in recent years escalating. And then we hope that when these projects are advertised, it's a very competitive environment. This was fairly competitive. You had 4 qualified, well-known contractors bid it. But then the second answer to my question is, to your question is, I don't know why there's such a spread in bid prices. I've talked to these contractors on every project. I talk to contractors, and some say, well, you know, we're very busy. We'd like to get this project, but we're not motivated to put in a very, very competitive bid. So maybe, I can't speak to Art Walker Construction, the high bidder at over 1.1 million, but maybe that was a consideration. Whereas Kenton Group, who was the low bidder, he was highly motivated to put in a very competitive bid. He wanted to bid this project. He asked us questions during the bidding process. He on other projects, it's been our experience, he's very competitive. So fortunately, he was interested in the project, he bid. Art Walker, larger firm, much larger firm, he bid as well, but he was a high bidder. So I think that the competitive environment creates this opportunity to see this large spread. And then, as I said in the beginning, unfortunately, these have to go in. The opinion of probable cost is usually 2 or more years old by the time you get the bids. Also, during this period of time, we've seen an escalation in some of the commodity prices, whether it be sometimes it was diesel fuel, sometimes it was steel, sometimes it was PVC. So it's been a fairly volatile commodities environment for water, wastewater projects, and many other projects as well. So it's one of these environments we've been in that's very complex for bidding.
Well, it's a strange deal, right? You're in the pandemic and somehow housing costs are going up, and I understand it because of the lack of stuff, and this is the same deal. So bear with me for a second. How much money is the grant?
The total grant.
Just the grant. How much money is the grant that we're receiving?
$750,000, I believe, was the total grant. Right.
So the grant itself is $700.
So we're getting $700,000?
Yes, but of that 700, 101 is engineering and 56,000 is administration.
Okay. So can you do this? Can you flip the process? Can you sit there and tell them, this is the amount of money we have? Now you tell us how many units or how far you can go so we don't have to pay them the extra money. You follow? Does that make sense?
It does, and that's why when we asked for the bids, we did it in a format we call unit pricing, so every component was per unit. But here's the complication. In a CDBG grant, it has to serve low to moderate income
Right.
folks. So the grant administrator identifies those service areas
Agreed.
or neighborhoods. And so you have to still meet the minimum threshold of the grant, which is serve 51% or more LMI households. So you can work within those service areas to remove scope, and that's what we did. But you can only do it to a certain point. And as far as, can you let folks know what the budget is, we do that right up front. Every bidder knew what the budget was. They don't have to meet that budget. They chose, well, in this case, all 4 bidders chose to bid higher than the budget.
Okay, I can see Commissioner Jamison's head rolling, so I'm gonna put this in simple English for you.
Thank you.
For the reduction of scope, we had to go to CVG and say, this is what the reduction is gonna be. They had to approve it. This was the amount that we reduced was the allowable amount within the constraints of the grant. So we couldn't reduce any more to get it lower.
Okay. I mean, I get that. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out.
And then when cost projections were figured out for this program, it was done when Ed Booth was still city manager. So this was over 2
Agreed.
years ago. So that's where some of the overage comes in as well.
So what big a check are you going to have to write?
$101,000.
Okay.
In 2 fiscal year or next fiscal year.
Yeah. Potentially too, but we will, probably have it all in fiscal year 21, 22.
It'll be contingent on how fast the contractor gets in here and starts working. So if we're
Okay,
projecting
so-
December. If he gets done in September, then we're kind of in
Well,
September.
there's an unknown, so you have to basically be prepared to pay it.
Which I believe the finance director said we have the money contingency if it did fall in earlier than October.
Say what?
If they've completed before October, there's money in water contingency, I believe the finance director said, so we could cover the cost of this if they completed prior to the end of this fiscal year budget.
Let me correct that in saying there's contingency, but not the whole 101 that we potentially have to go into fund balance to finish it out.
Well, we budgeted how much for it? Is in the budget, this year's budget.
This project was only budgeted 700,000 because that was what all we knew.
No, but what did we have? We had the 50,000 match, so what we, from our money,
No, sir, we did not have the 50,000 because we weren't aware of the 50,000.
so what was the 700?
This was a 2-year project, and it didn't get funded until after, it was in September.
So in neither fiscal year, we haven't allocated,
No, this fiscal year, 700 is out, well, actually, we had a little bit last year, so like 600.
but that's the grant. So our matching portion of it is
The 50,000 you was talking about we had to put up to get the extra points. Yep.
Yes, sir.
So that money is in the budget? The 50,000?
50,000, no, sir, it's not. I wasn't aware of it.
I think what happened was the previous city manager had pledged it and not everyone was aware of it. So we just recently became aware of it and that's why it wasn't in the budget. So then we had to look for money and when Jennifer and Bruce and I spoke, some of it did what was in contingency, but some was in fund balance because it hadn't been budgeted. That's why you have to hit the fund balance.
so out of the 101, we're talking 50, but really we're talking 101.
You're talking 101,
isn't budgeted
right?
for us to accept this grant.
Well, right, we would have to make a budget amendment. But there's enough money in water between this fiscal year and next fiscal year. There's enough this year if you hit fund balance. But if not, we could potentially, put some in contingency again for next budget year and split it between the 2 years.
Okay, but is that legal for us to commit funds that if we're committing it against water revenue, we can do it because that's a revenue fund. So we could commit to a fiscal year that we haven't begun to talk about yet, as long as we're doing it with funds that come from a revenue fund.
Yes, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Well, we did something similar to that on the, what was the plan deal where we did 50 and then we, yeah, but we just did it with the, oh geez, McGrath or something where they did the plan, we paid them 50 and then we did the other 50 in the next next fiscal year, excuse me. Oh geez, I can't remember. We did a planning deal.
The comp plan, yes.
And we paid some of it in the one fiscal year and we paid the rest of it in the next fiscal year.
Yes, you're
Yes.
exactly
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah, but
common.
you can.
So I'm just
you can
saying,
budget something in 1 year that then carries over.
no, we didn't have,
Or you can split funding between 2
you
years.
split funding between years, or you can budget, like we have a contingency, and I'm right about 70,000 off the top of my head, in contingency, so the majority of it is in contingency, as Bruce said. Potentially, we may have to do fund balance, it's gonna also depend on our revenues and what has been expended. Our revenues are slightly higher this winter for whatever reason. Water, usually it's in the summer. So, potentially all of it could be there, but as the city manager said, we may have to take some from fund balance.
tell me again the total grant amount of money that we're getting.
Total grant that we're receiving is 700.
Okay, that's good.
It'll be 801.
Well, I'll say this and then on this one here, this has been an issue that we've talked about now for 4 or 5 years. I appreciate Greg. This is the third or fourth water thing that we've done. We the infrastructure thing, we've pushed it. We got $700,000 and we're going to be able to replace land. And I'm assuming in there, Greg, that they're going to actually put shut-off valves occasionally.
Hydrant, shut-off
which I'm just saying, when I say that, because we didn't have them. So I guess I would say something like this. I don't know how you're gonna do it, but we've got $700,000 to continue doing what we've started maybe 5-6 years ago. I don't think we can pass it up. I think we're gonna have to find it. I think you slow the guys down and get them to where we can split the deal and pay the money into the next fiscal year. Somehow you tell them to put it on pause, take a break. I don't think we can afford to pass this up. This has been a project that we've started to improve the water lines. I don't think we can not do it.
In all honesty, this is not gonna be a fast project, because they've gotta go and run all the mains, they've gotta set hydrants, they gotta set valves, and they gotta do laterals. I mean, this is gonna take a considerable amount of time.
Right. There again, I don't think we can not do it. I think this commission has done a good job over the years of allocating and going after these grants. And I think we've done a good job replacing the water. So I think we need to do whatever needs to be done to meet this grant, to make sure we're continuing to do what we told the citizens we were going to do, improve the infrastructure and make it better. So I'm for this, and I'm just somehow manage it.
I had a question, but you pretty much answered. You answered, but when the difference between the 600,000, 800,000, 1 million, big difference to me. And one of my main concerns is with the 6,000, because I'm quite sure we have to tape the roads over there. Am I correct?
Sure.
They're gonna have to tape the streets over there?
No, it'll all be right away work.
Huh?
Every bit of it'll be right away work.
Right away. So they're not going under?
Not under pavement.
Good, because the last time they did it, I'm very frustrated with they left it.
Right.
I'm very frustrated with they left it.
There may be some intersection work, but outside of that, majority, I'd say 90% of the project's gonna be in the right of way.
Okay, because I want to put stuff back the way they.
Unless I read it wrong.
I want to put stuff back the way they found it, because I think some of the guys on the streets and roads tried to patch that couple of little holes the other day, and I'm very, very disappointed the way they left that over there. Very disappointed. I mean, just hitting holes when you go. And it wasn't that way before they installed those lines over there. So I want to make sure they put stuff back the way they found it.
We'll be managing them pretty close on this project.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Are we okay?
Yeah.
Anybody from the audience? Check yours, Kevin, please.
No hands on Zoom, Madam Mayor.
All right. Well,
But if there's nothing more, Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we accept the bid from the Kenton Group.
I'll second it.
okay, it has been properly moved in second that the CDBC grant be approved. All those in favor respond with aye, please.
Aye.
Those opposed respond with same signs. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, that's our last item. So we're going to ask for the city attorney report and update.
Madam Mayor, I would like to say nice to see you in person again. I was beginning to wonder if I was going to make it, but there's something going on.
Glad you made it.
I'm very glad. Something going on I-75. I don't know what it is, but it was not good. But I don't have anything further to report.
Okay. City manager.
On Saturday, we have our strategic planning meeting at 9 a.m. at the school. And dress is casual, no pajamas. No, I don't think that'll happen. But so our goal is to start at 9 and get y'all out by 12. That's the goal. So we're going to keep a little timer going throughout the 3 hours to keep everyone on track, so we don't take everyone's afternoon. And we'll be talking about infrastructure, and we'll be talking about facilities, and we'll be talking about code changes, and almost anything you can think of will be talked about, and hoping that y'all help set the priorities for the next fiscal year, short-term, long-term, up to the next 20 years. But we will have a public input process afterwards, maybe a town hall meeting, and then we will come back and finalize the document as well. So we'll just be getting a draft between those two things. So there'll be second and third chances. But I think the goal would be to get something wrapped up in March, because we'll use that to start the budget process.
So it would just be the commission and managers, not public.
The public is invited since it's an open meeting, but but it's mainly the directors and the commission, and the public is invited.
Okay. We have any announcements?
Chief Shepherd, don't you have something on Friday?
Yes, ma'am. We are having a community meeting at the Catherine Taylor Park at 6 p.m. That'll be tomorrow. It'll be mainly in response to some criminal elements that are occurring in that area and city overall. So we're hoping to have a good conversation about how we can prevent crime and how we can open up the lines of communication. We have invited Sheriff Watson. I'm not sure if he's going to be there, but Chief Scott from the Alachua Police Department will be there to discuss the interactions they had a few years back when they had some violence occurring in their area. And we are optimistic about it and ready to have a discussion.
I am looking forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. All right. Comments from the commissioner. Commissioner Ambrose.
I have nothing at this time.
All right. Commissioner James.
No, ma'am.
All right. Commissioner Williams.
I feel bad now. This question for Bruce here. Next to that new Donald Journal on Southside Court, they building that road there, or that's the city?
Which road?
On Southside Court.
Southside Court is being paved through the A2 sewer project.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so that's part of the sewer project?
Yes, sir. That'll be that's part of the sewer project.
Okay, it's not part of
Correct.
Dollar John. Okay. Second thing is, on this past week, the Alachua County Appraisal Office opened up an office in Alachua in the old Squeak House. That's more convenient for people who don't have to go to Gainesville for that part of business. That's appointments only, so it's a nice little office. Kevin was there also for the ribbon cutting, so that let them know that they can go to Alachua instead of have to go to Gainesville for the property appraiser's office. And also, in your meeting on Saturday, I'm gonna have to leave about 11:15.
Oh, then we will do we will try to condense it. We'll condense it. That will happen.
Okay.
Express you need to be out by 10, so.
I thought he said 9:30.
I had spoken with Jen. I said we should have started at 8 o'clock, but she said I might be a little too.
Since I'm taking these shots, see, I have much greater regard for the staff that it would be done in 30 minutes.
Well, if you want us to just come
I
up,
trusted that you guys would do your job, we'd be out.
we'll just make all the priorities for next year. We're good. You'll see a lot of vehicles being ordered and.
All right, got it. And the only other thing I have is farm share call, but that was too quick a turnaround. They wanted to try to do it this weekend. They had some food that they really need to get rid of, but there's no way possibly could have did it this Saturday. So we had tried to do it then the following Saturday, but they weren't able to do it. They got too many trucks coming. Going out, so they haven't called me back. So as soon as they call me, I'll let you guys know. But they got a bunch of food in they had to get rid of in Alachua County. So I guess they're taking some of this. That's all I have, man.
Thank you.
Staff presentations for the strategic plan have been cut down to 3.5 minutes.
Vice Mayor Jones.
I would like to thank whomever needs to be thanked for filling the potholes on Railroad Avenue. That is wonderful. I don't have to do this dodging thing. So it's very nice today to go down there and not have to worry about it. Otherwise, I'm good.
I thank you, because that's exactly what I was going to say.
As long as we don't get no rain, we all right.
As long as it don't rain.
Exactly.
We are trying a new product, so let us know what you think as
Okay,
time
good.
goes by, because we're trying something a little different. It's a different brand, a little bit different application, so we're hoping it's gonna work better. It doesn't rely on everything having to be so dry, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay. That's a start right there. And we thank you for it. All right, with that, if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion.
So move.
So move.
All right.